victory that they need in order to take the match.
And look at that, Twilight Drake and Mountain Giant. They got both options available to them. And I can tell you, TJ, when I've seen this situation, players will tend to take the safe side of things because Big Game Hunter they know is almost always worse for them than Mountain Giant are. Now, that being said, they were willing to risk the Mountain Giant to begin with, so maybe they follow through with that line of play. But either way, they're going to be thinking twice about it. UNC has a fantastic start so far, and it is not going to slow down. Yeah,
and if UNC picks up a keeper within the next couple of turns, they're going to be sitting pretty. I mean, this game comes down to whether or not the Druid can hold board control long enough to be able to end the game with combo, to just control the state of the board, force the handlock to play inefficiently, and then close out the game with combo. And cards like BGH Keeper definitely allow them to do that.
UNC's going to go for second Wild Growth here instead of Innervate out. One of these 5-drops. And, you know, they did this pretty darn quickly, too. I mean, they feel like they have this figured out already. I think I would have liked to see them think about this just a little bit more. But UT going to go for this Twilight Drake right away. And something that's happening here is I think they're okay with Keeper the Grove because it's going to slow down some of these potential turn 6 plays. Speak of the devil. But I think something else that UT's thinking about here is really, when they see this Keeper the Grove, obviously they're disappointed. But I think the bigger picture here is when UNC has Keeper the Grove, they want to be denying Emperor Thaurissan. They want to be denying a potential Sylvanas here. Those are really the big pictures. So they get punished right here, but I think they're okay with it because of what it potentially means.
Yeah, they've never been happier to see a half-man, half-moose covered in leaves in their entire lives.
Well, they also have a second Twilight Drake, so you know that's part of what's tying into it too. But UNC, that Ancient of War is going to go completely uncontested should they choose to play that.
They got that out quick.
Yeah.
And this is about as much as you could ask for if you're UNC at this point. I mean, look how fast they took control of the board. Usually, it's the handlock player that's throwing out threats that are unable to be dealt with, and that's a pretty nice draw as well.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's probably one of the better ones in the deck. Turning off the taunt mechanic, taking out 5 points of health, and getting a 2/1 body. There's not really much more you can get from a 2-mana card.
Hoot hoot.
That being said, though, their hand is strong enough to, I think, to even potentially forego that at certain points. I mean, they still do have a Mountain Giant available, but just taking up 5 points of health for that little mana, and then also being able to Mortal Coil this, I don't think you can pass this up.
Yeah, you're still not developing too big of threats here, which might be a little bit of a concern as the game goes on, because the Druid player is the one that's going to be threatening a kill a lot sooner than the Warlock player is, because let's say he clears the board here and is left with a 2/2 Keeper after he trades into the Owl, and his 4/6 Druid of the Claw. You're dead next turn to combo.
Yeah, I mean this is definitely scary, I think, for UT. You know, you just said it too. Force Nature Savage Roar in this spot is 24 points of damage.
Yeah.
Usually at 24 or 23 even, you feel pretty darn safe.
Yeah.
But that's the power that Druid really possesses, and it's why you see it consistently represented at tournament spots. It's not because it always has it, it's because of that threat of the power. And that threat of power oftentimes is better than just the power itself.
Yeah, and usually at 23, 24 health, you're not too worried on like turn 7, maybe 8. Turn 6?
Well, you know, I mean, sometimes you gotta take your beats, and this Mountain Giant, you know, normally I think in a spot like this, it looks like an okay play. I don't think you're thrilled with it. You'd like to have something a little bit more powerful or even to be ahead at this point. But UNC's just had all the right answers this game. Keeper the Grove to take out Twilight Drakes, Wrath to shore up the gameplay, and then even a Big Game Hunter sitting back for these big threats. It's all UNC so far.
Yeah, and you play a Mountain Giant here and throw out a Sunfury Protector, all of a sudden you're looking at a situation where a BGH completely swings the game back into UNC.
So, no combo available though, but like we said, the Big Game Hunter really got to do a number on this board position. But now this is the tricky turn for UNC, is how they balance the Molten Giant life totals. You know, you don't want to be putting them too low, but you definitely want to be putting some pressure on.
Yeah, you want to keep him right at that range to where you can play a Molten Giant, but can't either taunt it up or Shadow Flame it if you want to be super aggressive.
Yeah, so they're going to shut off the Shadow Flame with Loatheb, and to me, I think that would normally mean they're going to push for the full amount, but here they're just going to sit on the Loatheb. So this is 8, 13, 14, 15. This is only 16 points of damage.
Only?
Well, you know, they're sitting at 17. If they'd have pushed that 2 from the Keeper of the Grove, suddenly you're looking at lethal. But if you push that 2 damage, that does enable Molten Giant plus a Sunfury Protector. So they're playing around as much as they possibly can here.
And I mean, there's a lot of damage cards that are still left in UNC's deck. I mean, you look at it, all of a sudden they draw into a Swipe, Force of Nature, Savage Roar, Druid of the Claw. I mean, there's just so many ways.
Keeper of the Grove.
Keeper of the Grove.
Living Roots. Claw.
Yeah. Savage Combatant. Half the cards in the deck, nearly.
Stormpike Commando.
Yeah. Elven Archer.
Bluegill Warrior. Stone Tusk Boar. We could keep naming them, guys. There are plenty of cards to deal 1 damage.
Yeah, most of them realistic.
UT, a tough decision in front of them. Do they want to taunt up? Do they want to gain life? I think with the Mal'Ganis in hand, it makes a lot of sense to be taunting up this Void Caller right now. That will pull a lot of heat away from you. And they get rewarded for that play at this point. They needed that little bit of extra absorption to make sure they didn't get lethal here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, what a tight game it's been.
This was the way that they could gain the most total life, I believe, because you have the 4 health from the Void Caller, plus you add that onto the 7 health of Mal'Ganis. That's 11 total points of sort of life gain, if you want to look at it that way. And UNC's got to be a little bit disappointed. Still have a pretty decent lead in this, but that kind of stinks to feel like you're on the verge of killing your opponent and then having to throw multiple creatures into Mal'Ganis to try and stop it.
Yep, and this is a spot where now I think UT, they may actually just outright have the advantage now. They have Ancient of War with a Shadow Flame and a Dark Bomb to take care of this. UNC is going to be left with a single card in their hand at this one. So, you know, we talk a lot about giving initiative back to your opponent after your turns. When they only have 1 card left, it doesn't hurt quite as much.
Yeah, and it's Innervate. There's not many things that you can do with Innervate with 10 mana and only drawing 1 card. You can... Nope, I was going to say, well, you can, like, Innervate Deathwing. Hero Power.
Solid.
Solid.
Yeah, it's going to be the Dark Bomb play, so UT completely clears the board with 5 cards in hand, and they're all defensive cards. Look at this. And a swipe being drawn for UNC. You know, it's 4 points of damage, but that's one of the worst cards in their deck right now.
Yeah, they need something to put on the board, a body to try and contest, or to give them an out when they're talking about something like Force Nature Savage Roar. The UTA guys are just laughing.
And you can see the differences in the body language here. UNC knows that this is a dire straits for them. UT, they're laughing up, having a great time. They're feeling awesome about their position.
And luck.
And then I told him, Grim Patron's balanced. Yeah, this turn maybe lights out. I mean, barring a second big game Hunter draw, yeah, Savage Combatant's not enough. They can't even kill this Molten Giant, and this game is about to get really ugly for UNC.
Yeah, and with big threats being plopped down on the board like this, if your UT Austin is even putting UNC on a clock now because they're going to be doming in for 10 damage a turn.
Yeah, take it upstairs. And UT, man, they're all smiles at this point. And how could you not be? You just got 10 points of damage out when your Druid opponent on turn 10 with Hero Power.
Yeah, turn 10.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts. A lot of times you have like that wild growth that you're holding on to.
I mean, it looks ugly, but they got to take this damage here. They are not climbing back into this without everything that they can possibly get right now. They're even considering swiping.
Yeah, you swipe, and then all of a sudden UT Austin finds a way to deal with your Savage Combatant. You ended up taking 24 damage, minus the couple health you gained. So 22 net damage over the course of 2 turns from that Molten.
Well, and Jiraxis gets added to hand, so just in case there wasn't enough here. Yeah, and this is the power of these handlock decks is when they get to these points. I mean, it is almost impossible to come back from it, and they're making the most of it right now. Taking out the Savage Combatant and 9 to the dome.
Yeah.
UNC, I think they need that Deathwing, TJ.
Yeah, that's... I doubt it's in their deck. I mean, it's a possibility. We talked about interesting deck choices earlier for these players that are coming in from the collegiate level, but...
I think they're a little bit too smart for Deathwing in the Druid build right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys, I've seen some very keen play from them all. Really taking into account how their next plays have been are really going to affect things. I've liked what I've seen so far, and I think UNC put up a great fight. UT, though, really great lineup and strong play. Iron Beak Owl for those final points of damage. That's going to do it. They take the series 3 games to 1 and start out week 1 with a 1-0 record.
Yeah, those guys got to be really happy. You can see smiles across the board. A couple little fist pumps there, a couple little cheers from coming out from UT Austin. I mean,